Let's prepare and dive into the mission ahead. Putin's supposedly bomb-proof ammunition depot is engulfed in flames following a massive kamikaze drone attack. The so-called indestructible ammunition depot is burning. The Russian Federation has faced one of the most significant attacks of the conflict to date. In the early hours of the morning, a series of explosions rocked the Kremlin, sending shockwaves throughout the area. Reports indicate that up to 30,000 tons of ammunition were stored in the military facilities controlled by Putin. Dramatic footage captures the intensity of the explosion, with thick black smoke rising into the sky over Toropets and the surrounding villages. Due to the success of the Ukrainian operation, the warehouse housing 12M rockets, 82mm mortars, and additional ammunition for BM-21 Grad systems has been decisively put out of action. The 107th GRAU arsenal has been a crucial military facility since at least 2015. Listen up, friends. Here's a summary of the latest news. Stay tuned. Breaking news. Ukraine has launched a significant kamikaze drone assault on a Russian ammunition depot. Check out these images of massive explosions following the drone attack on the Russian depot. It's intense. It's believed the destroyed depot contained about 30,000 tons of various munitions, including cartridges for the Grad anti-aircraft missile system. This likely makes it the largest ammunition depot attacked since the start of the conflict. The Centaur 10 GRAU arsenal spans approximately 15 square kilometers, making it one of the largest military depots in the world. Tens of millions of pounds in missiles and ammunition went up in flames after a series of fireball explosions. Witnesses on the ground confirmed that drones were precisely targeting the ammunition depot. Regional Governor Igor Rudin confirmed that Ukrainian drones launched an attack on an ammunition depot in Russia's Tver region in the early hours of Wednesday, September 18th. The attack caused major fires and explosions in the town of Toropets. Images circulating on social media capture the intense sounds of explosions in Toropets, highlighting the scale of the assault. The Russian Ministry of Defense announced the successful destruction of 54 Ukrainian drones overnight, though they did not specify details about the Tver region. The depot falls under the command of Military Unit 107 of the GRAU arsenal and holds a significant stockpile of ammunition. This ammunition depot had been targeted by drone attacks before and is filled with important munitions, including 122mm rockets for the BM-21 Grad systems and 82mm mortars, a large amount of firepower ready for action. NASA satellite images have captured thermal signatures across almost the entire extent of the Centaur GRAU arsenal, showing the magnitude and ferocity of the fires that followed. Seismographs in the area recorded the explosion, data that is crucial for understanding the impact and scale of these events. Following the attack, the Tver regional government took decisive measures, announcing a partial evacuation of Toropets through its official social media channels. Stay alert and informed. The evacuation is being carried out in areas where anti-aircraft defense operations are in full swing, and firefighting efforts are actively underway. The situation is under control and being managed effectively, regional authorities declared. The Toropets Municipal District Administration announced that buses are being mobilized to evacuate residents to the nearby town of Zapadnaya Dvina. All schools and kindergartens in the area are closed due to ongoing explosions and the toxic smoke filling the sky. Local authorities reported that debris from one of the drones sparked another fire in the nearby town of Zapadnaya Dvina. After the assault, the GRAU arsenal was quickly evacuated, along with military personnel from the adjacent Unit 49. The removal of this ammunition will affect the Russian Army's Northern Operational Group, which supports forces in Bryansk, Kursk, and Belgorod. The munitions were being transported west via Russian railways to Belarus, then sent back to Russia, where they were unloaded in Kursk and Belgorod. The military facility had already been targeted twice before, once in May and again in June 2024. Back in 2018, the establishment of the Aran Comprehensive Storage Arsenal was a significant step forward. General Dmitry Bulgakov, Putin's deputy defense minister, emphasized its role in safeguarding missiles and ammunition from external threats while ensuring their proper maintenance. Bulgakov stated that the arsenal was built according to the strictest international standards, claiming each warehouse could store up to 240 tons of ammunition. This facility is designed to withstand explosions and fires, he asserted confidently. Putin's so-called indestructible ammunition depot went up in flames after a major drone attack from Ukraine. In the latest update, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that its territory faced a drone attack overnight. The Russian Ministry of Defense confirmed the interception and downing of 54 Ukrainian drones during the night operations. Their report confirmed that 27 were intercepted over Kursk, 16 over Bryansk, 6 over Smolensk, 3 over Belgorod, and 1 over Oryol. However, the Tver region was not mentioned despite the ongoing fires at the ammunition depots. Vasilin, the governor of the Smolensk region, announced that air defense forces successfully engaged and shot down 7 Ukrainian UAVs over the cities of Yelnya and Roslavl. Mission accomplished, he reported, confirming that no casualties or damage occurred as a result of the interceptions. Later, the capture of 2 additional drones in the Dukovshchina region was confirmed. Reports from a Russian social media channel indicated that one of the downed drones in Yelnya had landed on a road. In response to recent events, Andriy Yermak, head of the Ukrainian presidential office, shared a video capturing the explosion in Toropets, underscoring, "Russia must disarm to end terrorism." Western allies are preparing to give the green light to Ukrainian armed forces to strike targets within Russia using long-range missiles. Potential targets include numerous military airfields. Ukraine has ramped up its offensive against key targets, and just a day before today's attack, it successfully carried out another operation. The Ukrainian Navy destroyed Russian ammunition depots near Mariupol. Troops launched a precise missile attack, demonstrating their tactical prowess against enemy supply lines. The announcement came directly from the Ukrainian Navy's communications department. Last night, a Ukrainian Navy missile unit executed a precision strike on Russian warehouses located in the village of Liv in the Mariupol district in the Donetsk region. The Ukrainian Navy reports that these depots were near the temporarily occupied city of Mariupol. Based on verified information, the operation successfully destroyed the warehouse's infrastructure and eliminated tons of ammunition the enemy had stored for deployment. On Ukrainian soil, the military command has reported in a statement that residents of nearby villages heard a significant explosion followed by intense gunfire and additional blasts. Later, images were released showing the aftermath. These pictures reveal the remains of 122mm artillery shells from Russian artillery units. The Ukrainian Navy is actively collaborating with other defense forces. The Russian military installation in the village of Liu is positioned in a deeply strategic location, 100 kilometers from the contact line. Considering the scale of the attack and the involvement of naval units, it is reasonable to conclude that Neptune cruise missiles were deployed in this operation. The missile's objective was to penetrate a crucial stretch of occupied territory that is protected by robust anti-air defense systems. On August 24th, Ukraine's defense forces carried out a precision strike on an enemy ammunition depot in Russia's Boron Oblast. Mission accomplished. During this period, locals reported unidentified objects exhibiting high maneuverability, suggesting the advanced operational capabilities of the Ukrainian forces. They are actively undermining Russian military operations. In February 2022, Russian forces seized control of Mariupol using aggressive bombardment and starvation tactics to assert dominance over the city. Since the occupation began, Mariupol has become a strategic military stronghold for Russian forces. Ukrainian armed forces are constantly conducting tactical attacks on Russian military positions in Mariupol. On September 11th, reports confirmed explosions echoing in the streets of Mariupol and its surrounding areas. Recently, there were reports of an assault on an anti-aircraft missile depot near Mariupol. Petro Andriushko, advisor to Mariupol's mayor, confirmed an attack on a warehouse storing ammunition and missiles for anti-aircraft defense systems in the village of Libuk. These drone strikes are a direct result of Ukraine's strategic maneuvers to push the conflict deeper into Russian territory. These events show that the Ukraine-Russia war has entered a new phase, with the conflict now extending into Russian territory. Meanwhile, Ukraine remains firm in its stance that its forces should refrain from using long-range weaponry to strike deep into Russian territory. Serious discussions are currently ongoing in the West regarding the potential lifting of restrictions on Ukraine's use of long-range weapons for attacks deep within Russian territory. The much-anticipated debate on this issue was expected to take place during the meeting between U.S. President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer in Washington, but no announcement was made following the meeting. In recent updates, NATO Military Committee Chairman Admiral Rob Bauer has declared that, from a military perspective, the use of Western weapons against Russian territory is justified. He emphasized that each nation retains the authority to determine the restrictions governing the use of weapons supplied to Kyiv. During a press conference following the NATO Military Committee meeting in Prague, Bauer stated that, according to the rules of armed conflict, any nation facing an attack has the right to defend itself, and this right extends beyond the nation's borders. From a tactical standpoint, it's crucial to disrupt the enemy's capabilities by targeting their logistics and cutting off fuel and ammunition supply lines at the front. Bauer stressed the importance of stopping these actions to the greatest extent possible. He made it clear that countries providing weapons to Ukraine have the authority to set specific limitations on their use, as they are responsible for these arms. For this reason, political discussions continue, with several countries expressing differing viewpoints. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has firmly stated that he would strongly oppose the Ukrainian army's use of long-range weapons to strike within Russian territory. The United Kingdom, however, appears to have expressed support for Ukraine's deployment of Storm Shadow cruise missiles against targets inside Russia. This represents a significant step in the ongoing conflict. This information has yet to be officially confirmed. The UK has made the strategic decision to allow Ukraine to deploy Storm Shadow cruise missiles for targeted operations against Russia. The joint visit to Kiev by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and British Foreign Secretary David Lammy likely depended on a favorable decision regarding Storm Shadow. Without it, the mission may not have proceeded as planned. Ukraine is receiving long-range missiles from the UK, the US and France, yet it continues to exercise restraint in its attacks on Russian territory. Most likely, making a public statement about Kiev's long-range missiles would be seen as overly provocative. John Kirby has confirmed that the US is actively holding private discussions with Ukraine on this matter. Scholz has made it clear that he remains steadfast in his decision regarding the use of German-made long-range weapons by the Ukrainian army for strikes inside Russian territory. This stance will not change. Previously, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov confidently stated that Russian President Vladimir Putin's warnings about the repercussions of possible incursions into Russian territory had been communicated to the relevant parties. Putin emphasized that the Ukrainian army lacks the capacity to carry out strikes with advanced long-range, high-precision systems produced in the West. He claimed that this can only be achieved through intelligence obtained from satellites, which Ukraine does not possess. Those satellite data could come from the European Union, the US, or NATO as a whole. Another crucial aspect to highlight is that these missile systems are strictly operated by military personnel from NATO nations. Ukrainian troops are not trained for this. Putin has declared that NATO nations are not only contemplating the possibility of Ukrainian forces using long-range weapons supplied by the West, but they are also considering direct involvement in the conflict in Ukraine. The Russian leader made it clear that if the West directly intervenes in the Ukraine conflict, it would mean that NATO, the US, and European nations are effectively at war with Russia. Moscow will respond depending on the looming threats. Be sure to hit the follow button and give this video a thumbs up to stay up to date with the latest developments.